Hey guys, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2 years ago. I did a video on the best survival food where I kind of brought out that my opinion was that peanut butter was the best survival food. This video was got mixed reviews. There were some people who said, hey, yeah, that's a pretty good idea, and then there's other people who pretty much said, screw you, Bushcraft 412, I'm going to bang your mom, and peanut butter sucks, I'd rather have beans and rice. We're all entitled to our own opinions, and my mom is a very nice lady, so in her honor, I figured I'd have to do this video and kind of give a little bit of an update and an expansion on that. As I said before, I kind of feel like peanut butter is a very good survival food because it has a really good mix of fat, protein, and carbohydrates. Enough to keep you going. It's very little effort to cook, which you don't have to, just scoop it right out of the jar, and it tastes really good. Rice and beans can get very boring very quick. I can assure you that. Doing some, like 7, 8, 9, 10 day solo backpacking trips where you're bringing just massive amounts of rice and beans, it gets boring fast. So, wanted to bring up the idea of powdered peanut butter because it's becoming more and more available in stores. In fact, I got this at a Sam's Club, and it was in the neighborhood, I think like $8 or something on sale. So altogether, this jar is 1 pound 14 ounces, so it's pretty close to 2 pounds. And the calories in the entire, we'll show you the tag here, is just about 4,000 calories. So for a survival situation, for a single person, you're talking 2 days at full rations, or 3 to 4 days on half rations. Now the major difference, of course, is that the dehydrated peanut butter does not have the vegetable oil in it. So the fat content is dramatically lower, which is okay. You do need some fats in a survival situation, but some people kind of said all that oil and all that isn't the best for you in a survival situation, and very true. So I wanted to bring this up because you do see a lot more of these, especially in like the fitness and like whole foods, like the healthy foods, are the powdered organic peanut butters. This one here is just a cheap Sam's Club, but there are better versions. And you only need to add a minimal amount of water to these, which is basically like, if you're making a small amount, just a couple of tablespoons if you're making a sandwich. So I think this has a lot of benefits, and it gives you some improvements over the jars of peanut butter. The first improvement, of course, is cold weather. If you're bringing this out for cold weather, it's not going to freeze or turn into like concrete like real peanut butter does. I originally kind of got the idea because I used to know a guy who backpacked, and we do some winter backpacking trips together. And he would bring literally an entire jar of peanut butter to eat for the first night. And because he figured after a long, 4 or 5 mile snowshoe to the woods, the best way to replenish your energy and to also keep up your metabolism so you don't get cold after all that exertion was to eat something really complex like a jar of peanut butter. And he would just wolf this whole jar. And it always worked really good for him because after all that exertion, you sweat a little bit, you get chilly, it's real easy to get dehydrated. Whereas him, he could just load up on a huge thing of peanut butter, and he never seemed to get cold, and he didn't have the issues trying to make a fire and cook food, and he just really enjoyed it. And it kind of got me thinking, if I were in a situation where I did have to just run, why not peanut butter? It was designed to be essentially a food supplement for people without teeth. It's a protein supplement. It's something that's meant to keep you alive. So the idea being, why not use that in a bug out or wilderness survival type situation? Why not? And I think the powder gives you a little more benefit. It cuts down pretty dramatically on the weight. You're getting rid of all that oil, so you are getting not so much the bad stuff, more just the good stuff in you. And this stuff has a much longer shelf life as well. It's pretty much the oil that makes peanut butter go rancid. This doesn't have that oil, so you can expect a much longer shelf life. If you're putting this in your car in hot weather, it's not going to be affected like a jar of peanut butter where it's going to get that oil is going to rise to the top, maybe go rancid, who knows. So with all that said, guys, I know I've covered this all in a video before, but I wanted to update because if you're going to be doing this stuff, it's really important to constantly be evolving, constantly be thinking about what you're doing and upgrading. And for me, in my family, we probably go through maybe a jar of peanut butter a month, maybe 2 jars. And given peanut butter lasts quite a few years before it's opened, we keep a good, probably 15 jars of peanut butter in the pantry, which is great because they're kind of like single-serve rations. You give yourself that 2 to 3 days worth of food in a small, tiny jar. You don't need water, you don't need a fire, just grab and go. And now that I've found these, and they do have the longer shelf life, I've stored up about 4 or 5 of these. I've got dry food, I've got rice, I've got beans, I've got freeze-dried meals, I've got canned goods, I've got home goods that I've canned, you name it. But this is just another good addition. And if I had to run out the door and grab my bug out bag and I said, geesh, you know what? I got room in the car, what am I going to bring? This is what I'm taking. Simple, it's easy, I can portion it out very easily. Once I open it, I don't have to worry about it going bad. It's not going to freeze. It's not going to go bad in the sun. I only need a tiny bit of water and I don't need to cook it. That is enough to keep me alive, and that's good enough for me.